So, morning, everyone, or should I say evening. This is whenever this probably gets uploaded, or I actually finish kind of working through the other clip, which I might do as and when. This is just for ads. I've got like two clips which I'm going to use. And the two clips are basically just going to show, they're not a full ads phase, but they are going to give you an idea of what to expect during ads and what, you know, is kind of going to happen during ads. Obviously this one here is after a failed Grand Octet, because someone didn't, I think he like hit Twister at the end, to be honest, and someone missed a tower, but you know, with Tank LB, you can get through, and as well, you can also use pots here. It will make the DPS check a little bit tighter in Golden, but ideally, if we do it right, we should just get through the ad, like, you know, through ads as expected, and then into an easy Golden phase, and hopefully a kill. So, basically, this is just during the baits. This is kind of the group's first time getting here. Obviously, as you can see here, the fire puddles are all over, but that's because Stocker was too far out, and Kuroi, the machinist, was not close enough. So this is the same. This is mainly aimed at the DPS. It's also kind of aimed at the healers and the one DPS who doesn't get anything. This is the same as 10 Strike. 3 people get marked with a hatch, and there is also a twister that happens during this mechanic. Now, as you can see here, Ancestral and Half Demon are already stood in their Neurolinks. Now, yes, you don't do as much damage in the Neuralink. Yes, it's not, you know, super ideal. But the best way to resolve the closed hatches is to just stand in your hatch, to stand in your Neuralink, sorry, and this indicates obviously which puddle you're going to be. There is one person who has to flex, and that person who flexes is most likely going to be Jerry, because he's the one who's baiting. So MJ is going to kind of take the south one in this case. I would take I can't remember, the left one, and Tara would take the right one. So I'll just get rid of the marks, but you can see obviously there is the hatch too. So there's the hatch, and basically what we're now looking for is the people have the hatches. So they've gone off. Now a twister is going to go off here. Don't know if they can actually see a twister. I can't even see any. But there is a twister which happens, okay? So I'll just go back on that just so slightly. You can see the twister cast from Twin. If you struggle with seeing like your aggro list, I would suggest at the start of the phase to focus target Twin. And make sure your focus target is in somewhere where you can see that twister cast. You can actually see it. Because it is important that you don't miss it. Because if you miss the twister, you're probably going to kill somebody else. So the close ones, they do hatch first and then twister, and the person at the south, who takes the south Neuralink, will do twister first and then the hatch. Think of it as in Nail Part 1, where you have the Neuralink and you have the twister. You do twister first, and then you do the Neuralink. It's important for the DPS who doesn't have a hatch, don't do what I do in this clip, bad example, or the healers, is important that you're not near the group, okay? Like near the people taking the Neuralinks, as I'm sure people have probably seen when you've done 10 Strike, if you've been a bit too close, you will clip somebody, like you will die. And ideally, we don't really want that. So just again, so the people who are taking the close ones are already stood in their Neuralink. They've resolved. As you can see, people are now moving because Twister has just gone off. And the person at the south has just resolved their Neuralink. Okay. So, here's the first quote. First one that we have. Which is, out, then stack, and then spread. So for this, here you go. If it is an out stack, you will stack on D. So you will go out, you'll stack on D, and then you will spread. And this is how you're going to spread. If you look at this and you think of fell ruin, whenever I say, you know, tiny spread, and then you do your, you know, you go into the Neuralink and then you resolve the, you know, the big AoE that happens after, because Nail's going to hit random people. Think of that mechanic, like these quotes, as that mechanic. You need to make sure you move, you know, when you need to. And I'll explain why after. So let's just say we have done this quote. So here comes the quote. So it's out. So we all go out. So that's that done. So we've all gone out. Good. We've all stacked. And now we need to spread. So we spread. And again, as you can see, Twintania is casting a twister. So I'll go over it just again. So the quote is out, stack, spread. So we go out, stack, and then spread. And then twister comes, and we move. Now it's super important here, don't greed. Like, don't run back into the middle instantly, because you're probably going to kill someone with your twister. Or another person's twister. So them spread positions on this picture, if it's ever out spread, well, you know, out stack spread or anything like that, whenever there is a spread, this is the direction you should be running. Obviously for tanks that might change because you may be tanking a different boss at that time, so you may run in a different direction. If it is an in quote, which I've got this here for you, so here is just another clip of ads. So this is just after the first quotes have been finished. There is a mega flare that Nail does. So this ideally we need, you know, bubble, everyone needs to be topped, a reprisal, and, you know, shields. I use troop here. Jerry can probably use, you know, his thing there as well. Reason being is because it will be back up in time for when we need to do the next thing. There's the tank buster. So tank buster goes off. And the tanks do a tank swap, and they just kind of, you know, move the other way. So this is for more like Jerry, this POV, you could say. It's obviously, don't really think I need to tell Jerry how to suck eggs, as much as he may like me to tell him to. Just baiting the liquid hells. Again, this is important. All of the group needs to be close to the boss. To just make, not, you know, really close. Just think of, like I've said, just think of this phase as Twintania with the occasional Nail quote, and you will get through this phase perfectly fine. So here comes the next one. Again, both clips I don't actually have a hatch. So the generate, here comes the twister. So twister's going to come up in a second up on here. Don't know if you can even see my mouse, I've not got the draw thing on. So, done. And as you can see on B, there's the Neuralink. Sorry. There's the hat. Oh, fuck me. There is the twister. Got there in the end. So there's the twister. So, fires abated, resolve if you're close. So do hatch, then twister if you're at the south. There you go. So the next quote comes, and the next quote is in, and then spread, and then stack. Now, the reason why we all know that it's going to be in is because it's always the reverse of the previous quote. Not necessarily the order of the quote, but it's more like if it's going to be in or out first. So, before this, which I don't actually have, is, you know, there is an out beforehand. So it's super important that we keep in mind, kind of, if it was out the first time, it's going to be in the second. If it was in the first time, it's going to be out the second. So the quote is in and then spread. So in, spread, and then when it's an in, we always stack on 4. Unless if you're the unfortunate soul here, and then there's a twister. Now, how this person doesn't die here is beyond me, because look, they have definitely like hit that, but whatever. So once more, just to go over this a little bit, I'll just go over this full ads for you. Obviously this is halfway through ads, but again, there's nothing you guys shouldn't be like not prepared for, or like not being like, oh my god, what's going to happen next type of thing. Ads is very structured. You do the first set of baits, then the hatches, then there is a quote, then there is a mega flare, which is an AoE, and then there is a tank swap, and then it is just a rinse and repeat. So it's just super important that when we're doing this, we're nice and calm, people are topped off. Tanks are going to need a bit of help here, so, you know, whoever's tanking Nail should have cardio at that point. They should have, like, you know, Heimer, possibly. Just keep the tanks healthy. The DPS can kind of look after themselves. So here's the twisters and hatch. And we know that the next quote is an in. So in we go. If you need to, do use sprint. Nothing wrong in using it. Spread. And then we stack. And then twister. There's always a twister. These are the only things you might want to remember. The last thing I'll say for this specific thing is the twisters always appear on a hatch or at the end of a quote. And that is the only time twisters appear in this phase. So it's just super important, like, you know, okay, so in, okay, I've got a spread now, I've spread, and I need to stack. After this stack, I need to spread again. And that's it. We may have maybe a bit of a meme with tank swaps. There's another tank swap there, as you can see right at the end. They just swap the boss. And then you can LB the boss here, both of them, just tank, not tank LB, sorry, just ranged LB. Nail's going to do Mega Flare. Kind of close, because that was going to be another 2 people dead. And for those who haven't seen it, I won't spoil the rest.